start going live on here more. Trying to get a little something, something. Wonder how everybody is doing. This is a dark live. How is everybody doing tonight? Trying to start going live on here. Come on through, peoples. Where y'all at? My teeth look good. Trying to come through the building. Waiting for some people to come through. What it do? Come through. What it do? I wonder how everybody's doing in this climate. Is everybody doing good? Are there some challenges in this? Ow. Is everybody doing good? Are people being challenged? I would like to know how everybody's doing. It don't matter what color you are. I think this time is challenging for a lot of people. They say that the rich is getting richer, the poor is getting poorer, and I wonder how everybody is doing. Because me, myself, life has been very challenging lately for everybody, I think. Not for everybody, but like I said, the rich is getting richer, the poor is getting poorer. It's just a hell of a life. And I actually am trying to get through it the best way I can. Life is lifing. And how is your life going? Are you guys doing okay out there, or are you being challenged with life right now? It's a lot of people that's, deleting themselves because they're not used to, can you imagine the federal workers that are being laid off? They're going from making all that money a month to making barely anything. And it's not fair, But then again, too, it's like a lot of those people, those federal workers, they are assholes when you call the IRS, or when you deal with any of those federal workers. They have kind of nasty attitudes. Just like when I go to Secretary of State, they always have an attitude. They can never just be nice to you. It's like, I know you're dealing with a lot of personalities, but your job mainly consists of customer service. When I worked at a bank, I had excellent customer service skills. When I worked at the plasma center as a donor technician, where you have to sign people in and get their blood pressure and their hematocrit and something else, their weight and all that stuff like that, I had excellent customer service. I was there for 3.5 years at the plasma center. When you work at the plasma center, you're working with the bottom of the barrel. It's people that's jonesing. It's people that, they're trying to get the money to get their dope. They're trying to get the money to get their next drink. This is what's going on. Some people are trying to get groceries and pay, I had a girl sitting up there when I worked at the plasma center. She was crying because she was like, I don't know how my kids are going to get food if I don't pass. She said, I haven't passed the last 3 times I've came. And I said, babe, you can cry it out. I said, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to get your kids food regardless. Whether you pass here or not and you can donate plasma today, you're going to have to, you're still going to have to get your kids food. So, I was one of those people, when I have a service customer service, even as a janitor, I had great customer service with people. I wouldn't just, like I had a boss that would be like, oh yeah, just fucking go in their office. Don't say shit. Just go in their fucking office. And I'm like, because I worked at a university as a janitor, and I'm like, this some years back, and I was like, I'm not just about to walk in there. I said on their computer they have social security numbers, they have all different kind of important information. I said, no, I'm gonna knock. He was like, don't knock, just walk in there. No, I'm not doing that, sir. Sorry. And he would say things of that nature. And then he told me one day, he said, the woman that was in there, that was in your position before you came, he said she used to be on her hands and knees with tight pants on, with tight jeans on. She would be on her hands and knees cleaning the elevator. And I'm like, and you're telling me this because, and he was like, oh, I'm just letting you know she was very thorough. Well, I'm very thorough too, but I'm not about to be on my hands and knees in front of all these men working here like I'm scrubbing floors. So, you know, when you're in certain positions, people expect certain things out of you. But the thing about me was no matter what, because I've been a file clerk, I've been a janitor, I've been a receptionist, I've been a donor technician at the plasma center. I worked for the Census Bureau for the last census we had a couple years back. I worked so many different places. I worked a factory job, all type of shit. I've worked at the bank. You know, I was a bank teller. So I've did a lot of stuff, but what I never did is, because I had an incident, and one day I'll tell you guys what happened at school when I was in high school, but I had an incident that turned me off from school. So I got some college credits, but I never really finished college because I never felt comfortable in the classroom. And I myself feel like I learned better in person than online. So that's just me. But I was just coming on here tonight to see how everybody's doing. Hello, dear. Hello. I was just coming on to see how everybody's doing. You know, life is hard out here. If you got a job, try to keep it, you know, because a lot of people are getting laid off, and a lot of people are like, oh man, you know, I can't, like the federal workers, hopefully they can find, you know, something. I don't know if that's why Trump is trying to bring the factory jobs back here so that the federal workers can work that. I mean, I don't know, but it's fucked up how shit is going. And, you know, a lot of people are making the most money they ever made in their life. And now they're not making, you know, it's fucked up. It's just a lot going on. And I was saying for years, I was telling people, I said, we're not going to have middle class. It's going to be rich and poor. It's going to be rich and poor. I kept saying this. And true to my words, I said this like 10 years ago. I was telling my husband, I said, we're not going to have a middle class. It's going to be rich and poor. And unfortunately, we're considered the poor. And this is the most money my husband has ever made in his life, and we're still considered poor. You're either rich or you're poor, period. And that's just the way it goes right now. It's this world now, I hate to say it, but this is dog eat dog world. You know, you got to take care of your home. You can't worry about helping too many family members and friends and things of that nature. You got to make sure your household is taken care of. You have to. And when we became homeowners, a lot of our money is going into our home, you know, and that's the thing about it. When you become a homeowner, nobody tells you all of the, you know, stuff you got to do to maintain your home. And, you know, like as soon as we got the keys, I went to Amazon and spent like $1,500 on things that I wanted. You got to get, you know, just different things. And they'll try to fix the house up so sweet. Like we had to get a new refrigerator. When we moved in here, the refrigerator looked fine, but he had nigger rigged it, where after a couple months of being here, it was barely getting cold. Then we had to buy a new washer and dryer. So Home Depot is loving us because we paid it off real quick. Our washer and dryer, we had it and paid it off in about a month. Our new washer and dryer from Home Depot. So it's ours. And next, I need to get a new stove. I mean, thank you, dear. Thank you. But yeah, I got to get a stove, a brand new stove, and we don't have the white. We have a black refrigerator and stove, but I have to get a new stove and things of that nature. So life is lifing. being a homeowner, you know, they said the first 2 years was going to be sweet. And sure enough, that third year come around that you're in your home, taxes go up. This, that, and other. It's like, it's a lot. So you have to be a soldier at this shit. This shit is hard, you know, and you got more bills to pay. And it pisses me off because I live, like 120, I live about an hour and a half from Detroit, Michigan. And they don't have to pay for trash removal in Detroit because they're so nasty and sorry. They don't have to pay for trash removal. But people here where I'm at, we have to pay for trash removal every month. Every 3 months, it was $90. Now they're going to be charging us every month. So, yeah, life is life. And you have to literally be a strong person to live in this life. And like I said, it's a lot of people deleting themselves because, just like I said about the federal workers, they didn't know that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, that they were going to get laid off, you know. And me, myself, I'm 46. I don't have I have a whole lot of experience in different jobs, but I don't have a certificate. I don't have no schooling, as far as I go, like a degree. I do, I took speed reading classes. I took some prerequisite classes for journalism, but I didn't finish it off because of the shit I went through, when I was younger. And it's very disturbing because now it seems like you have to have some kind of trade. So I am thinking about going back to school and doing what I need to do. Um, I'm trying to get in here. I'm trying to make some of this internet money like everybody else. I am, but it's hard. It's hard to make money on the internet when you're not controversial. Like my writing name, my pen name, because I'm an author, is most controversial. But you know, I have to. I've edited my own books, but now I have to get a professional book covers made, and I have really good content. I have good content to the point where I know that my books can be movies, no doubt about it. So yeah, and life is life. Let me turn this on. Ooh. Life be life. Life is life, baby. So yeah. Yeah. So I'm just chilling, talking to y'all. There's nobody really in here, which is cool. Yeah. So I'm just chilling. I like to come on a little bit later after I did everything I need to do. I'm getting ready for the next day. And yeah, I'm living life. Like I said, life has been very challenging, but you take it one day at a time. And you just got to know that God is going to pull you through. That's why I tell people, I don't care what kind of sinning you're doing. You better put God first because God is going to get you through. Hi, bro. God is going to get you through and everything like that because, like I said, life is very challenging. Everybody's going broke. Everybody's losing their homes. Everybody's losing their cars. But a lot of it is if we all get on our hands and knees and pray to God. Oh, sorry, baby. Damn. My cat died today. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's sad. I'm sorry, dear. Yeah, that's very sad. Wow. How long did you have your cat? I'm sorry, baby. Sorry about that. I hate that happened to you. That's so sad. But yeah, you know, and then, 1 year. Oh, that's sad. Yeah. And then it's hard on top of having to deal with how life is and things of that nature. So you got to deal with death and you got to deal with all these different things. And on top of it, you got to deal with, losing people, losing your fur babies. And that's very sad. It is, because your fur babies become life, become part of your family. It's like that's part of your family. You wake up every day wanting to see them and everything like that. And now you have to deal with not seeing your baby no more. And that's very sad. It is. I'm sorry to hear that, honey. Yeah. When we lost our family dog, my dad, I hadn't seen my dad cry. And my dad was bawling so hard because our family dog had been with our family during my mom's death, my sister's death, and my dad's mom. So he had been with my dad through all of that. And when he passed away, it was very hard for my dad. They had to put him to sleep. So I get it. And I'm sorry about your cat. Yeah. Life is lifing, And you just got to know that when people leave us and when our fur babies leave, they're in a better place. And that's what you got to remind yourself of. That's what I try to tell myself to keep myself going. I'm not a spring chicken. I'm an older woman. And I'm doing the best I can. I am. But life is definitely challenging. I remember, I'll say even 5 years ago, you could have a minimum wage job and still maintain, an apartment and a car. These days, you can't do that. These days, you have to literally work your ass off to even be able to afford rent or a mortgage. It's very scary. It's very, very, very scary. So I'm just taking it one day at a time, and I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm not going to be out here too long. I'm just coming out here because I'm trying to be more, active on my page. I'm trying to build up my community. Can you please subscribe? Oh, I don't celebrate pagan holidays. That's a pagan holiday to me, Easter. I don't celebrate that. But I hope you had a good one. Yeah, I don't celebrate that. Yeah. I don't celebrate pagan holidays. I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate none of that stuff because they can't prove it in the Bible that was God's birthday. So. And they can't prove on Easter that the resurrection and all this stuff like that. So I don't subscribe to that. And I just don't. But I hope you enjoyed your Easter, if that's what you do. I'm not a Christian. I'm just trying to be a holy person. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do and things of that nature. But, whatever you do that make you happy, God bless you. But if you can, listen to Pastor Gino Jennings. Look him up on YouTube, and he'll tell you the truth of the Bible, if that's what you're looking for. And it took me a long time. I was trying to aspire to be a Christian. No. But yeah, this is most controversial. You guys have a blessed day. I'm not going to be on here real long. Please like and subscribe. Come through again. I enjoyed you guys. Whoever came through, that's a blessing. This is most controversial. Peace.